Hello and welcome to Waking Up, conscious discussions about our changing reality. I'm Carolyn Greenleaf, and my special guest today is musical Jennifer. This special soul is amazing, and I met her one time, and this was, I think it was a month or longer ago now, at a conscious connecting consciousness meeting. And she, along with many brilliant souls, were there. And it was really amazing. But Jennifer was one of these, shining beings that really stood out to me because we were kind of vibing together. We understood each other, I guess. When certain souls kind of start to connect in the same space, you kind of understand each other on a different level. And so where we start to connect our teachings is through music. And even though I am not a musical teacher, I did not study music. In my book, Re-entering Eden, my guides were showing me the connection between music and frequency and energy and everything that's ever been created is has a frequency, has an energy, a frequency. It is a life form, and there's a vibration that is very musical. And when you are in alignment with your true divine self, with your authentic self, and you're living from your true heart, you are in harmony with the soul, with your soul's song. So I'm going to first just read to you one of the paragraphs in my book, Re-entering Eden. And it goes like this. It was revealed to me that our lives are meant to be a song, one that fits into the symphony of the universal heaven above and all around us. Each one of us has a piece we play in the grand symphony, a song that is our own, which comes into being and transforms our world when we begin to strum the strings of our true heart. When we connect to the music of our soul, we create a heart song within ourselves, humanity, and the oneness. So when I started to, actually, I think we just sat together. We both came in late. We sat together and we started to chat. And I learned that Jennifer was this amazing music teacher, and she's also a former homeschool teacher as well. She is such a wealth of knowledge and information, and she has, since we've spoken on the phone, she has this amazing story that I'd like for her to begin to share with you. So, Jennifer, please tell us who you are. What is your story? What brought you to where you are today?
Well, I guess it's amazing and common all at the same time. But it goes really back to my family of origin. My father is a tremendous person. He is a beautiful, beautiful soul and a tremendous music lover. And music is definitely in the gene pool on his side of the family. My mom's as well, actually, quite a bit. But yeah, my dad just really, I'm very like my dad. I look like my dad. We just both got our ancestry DNA done. We've got almost the same genetics. So I really favor him. And my mom was very, very much valued that part of him. And so she was very supportive and nurturing an environment that allowed him to do what he loved. and have that really wonderful influence, which I consider part of my wealth. You know, his influence on my life is part of my wealth. And he ended up becoming a music teacher himself. But my education was actually very relaxed, but constant from toddlerhood, you know, from time before I remember. So I learned piano, I learned violin, I sang. My dad, in addition to his job as a music teacher, was a church organist and church pianist. So, you know, I grew up in the front row. I learned to read all the musical clefs and different harmony parts and 4-part harmony, just kind of gradually and informally. I was listening to music all the time because my dad played music all the time. So it was completely normal for either sacred music or classical music or some form of worship music to be playing at all times. And one story, everyone loves a story. So, you know, I think what's remarkable about my dad is that he was very much countercultural. You know, he didn't want to listen to contemporary music or the radio. He didn't, you know, so that is not normal. You know, that is not the norm.
You know what? That's why, yeah. But now we're learning as more information is coming out that is actually wisdom. He was following.
And he just, you know, so he loved it so much that I marveled that there's 3 kids in the family. I have 2 siblings, and we all absolutely love music and completely value him. We really didn't make fun of him. You know how kids sometimes can be rebellious against the thing their parent is so strong on. But we grew to love it because he loved it. And I remember many a time being at the dinner table, and some symphony or serenade or classical piece would be on. Usually it was orchestral. And there would be a portion or a phrase that my dad just loved. And we'd be talking and he'd be, oh, listen, here's this phrase. And he would just be enraptured. And we loved him so much. We would all, without even thinking a thing of it, just stop and reverently, respectfully, just enter into it with him.
Yes,
So
yes.
the underlying love that he had for music. And
Well,
I really believe it was his love language with God, you
mhm.
know. It
I
was
think
so
it's the passion too, because
yes.
when you are, you know, you're in alignment, you are in that flow, that divine flow of creation. And another thing that I was told too is that, you know, when you're reading something or singing something, it's about the space between the words or the notes. That's where the magic happens. That's where the energy comes out. So when something hits you, a musical piece or a certain instrument that plays a specific tune, it can trigger someone because it can be it's their soul is connected to it, and it just triggers just something so beautiful and magical, and you literally feel creation. You feel your space in creation. And
I love how you're articulating that. That's exactly what I experienced. And the words I have used to describe my dad's piano playing fall right in line with what you're describing. I would say when he plays the piano, the music breathes. It's alive. There's a way that it is breathing and alive. And I've been many a time where, you know, if it's in church or whatever, he'll play and he draws music out of people by his playing, by who he is, by the way that he makes that music come alive. So that's my heritage. That's where it all started. And yes, I did go on and study violin, piano, music theory, in college. And but I think when we talked earlier, I had told you that I do know music theory. I understand music technically, but it's so beyond. Music is so much broader than going to conservatory and getting a musical degree. So in some ways, I'm less technical and less trained than a professional musician, definitely. But I'm sometimes far more trained because of the breadth and scope of experience and experiential knowledge that
Yeah.
I have. And my family, we played a string quartet within our own family. And there was a woman one time who subbed with us that we knew locally in our community. And I mean, we played two measures and she just stopped and sat back and said, "Oh, this family has plays together." She just literally had to stop because we never really talked about the technicalities or count. I mean, to some degree you have to, but we just were in communion. And still to this day, whenever we are able, we all live far away from each other, but when we do come together, especially at Christmas, we all bring our instruments and we play together, and it's just a highlight. At times I move to tears because I miss it, just having that deep level of communion and connection with family. It's very joyful.
I was told that many times when we are too focused on the technical and someone has been schooled a little too much, they put themselves in a box, and it actually it lessens their ability to get out of the box, to move into that creative flow, that because we are beings of creation, and creation is an action word. So our passion, is always to expand ourselves, to experience more of who we are, and our world, and the creative elements in our world. And so when we allow ourselves to just trust, this is part of surrendering to God, surrendering to creation, then we join with that flow, with that symphony.
Yes.
And those who are also surrendering to that same flow begins to vibrate to their frequencies begin to form a beautiful song together.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can do it with yourself and creation. I mean, when I walk in the forest, I just surrender everything, and I just open myself to the energies and the wisdom of the forest, and I feel the forest moving through me, and I learn so much from heaven and earth, from all of it. And so it's just allowing surrendering and allowing the wisdom that is already all around us, all of that knowledge that is actually innate to our soul, and that is the song of our soul, to just, move us. Yes, schooling and all of that, as we need to learn some of these basics, but again, sometimes there are many people in college, and they feel some resistance within themselves of continuing in a certain, going deeper into their, certain path. And I always tell them to pay attention to that, because, ask your soul, is this something that's going to hinder my forward movement or not? Or is it going to help it? And I would go with that rather than what everyone else is telling us.
Yes. So important to be connected to your own inner soul and being, and be rooted and grounded there. Yes, my dad just also, he was a huge lover of walking in the forest. And, you know, he was a lover of beauty in nature. He was always exclaiming, "Oh, look at the sunset. Oh, let's drive this way because the autumn colors the leaves. Oh, it's so beautiful." He was just a lover of beauty. And again, being raised this way is the basis of how I connect with everybody. You know, it was the basis of how I've gone forward in life.
Yes.
With what exactly how you've are, you know, I always enjoy talking with you because you articulate in different ways from your life what I completely recognize and know from mine.
Mhm. Yes, yes. You know, and this is part of our opening reality, our true reality that we are really moving into. I call 5D reality is it's based upon oneness. And we, each one of us are part of creation, and we're like a unique snowflake. We have our own unique beauty and the way that we see and interpret the world that is it's right for us, and it does have its place. It's in tune with everyone else's when they are also aligned with their soul's truth.
Mm.
And so all of these different pieces and visions and understandings, as we move forward into our new reality, these pieces, they come together, and we start to our world opens up, because some of the understandings, or the way that we, will be illuminated even more so as we are talking to another individual who is aligned. That's why we're the two of us, as we, your information adds to my information, and my information adds to your information. So it's just, we're creating this we have our own masterpiece, but it becomes an even bigger masterpiece when we're adding other people's visions and knowings, and it's amazing.
It's rich, it's wealth, it's
it,
joy,
it
it's
is.
really the only way to live, you know. And it
Yeah.
really, this is how I form friendships. It's
Hmm.
I I'm really living from right from here,
Hmm.
and just, I guess, putting my radar, or however you want to describe it, out to understand who I am connecting with and
Yes.
vibing with. And
Yes, because
yeah.
and it's all about connecting within. That's where it starts. To me, that's where it ends. So many people in the ego-based world, 3D reality, they have been trained to plug into the outside world for approval, for their beliefs, for direction, for everything. And I see that as, now you're disconnecting from your soul's truth that is within, and all of the creative possibilities that you are always connected to, all of that wisdom and all that.
Mm.
And I also wanted to say that it's all about creativity, I believe. And creativity is expressed through art, music, through anything that you're creating. It's cooking, the way that we teach, the way
Yeah.
that we, are connecting with our children or grandchildren. There, it truly is. And if you look at it, there is a musical, um, you know, vibration that is, it's in everything. It's in everything. So when we connect within, we're automatically connected to all creation, to God, to whatever it is that we're doing. And we're in tune with that. And it's absolutely amazing. So I see this as, this is the reality that we're moving into. We're moving into our divine truth. For those who choose to be, in this reality. And
Yes.
I just see it as absolutely so exciting. Uh, you know,
Yes.
it's what
Yes.
many of us I have been waiting for, we've believed, and we've had faith that And we know that this exists. And we
Oh,
know
yes.
that humanity can move into this. They can move back. They can reconnect. They can move into that flow. They can feel that music that is within them, that is of them, and that joins with the symphony of creation and all the rest of humanity. So, yes.
It's beautiful. In my teaching, as you know, how this is sort of manifested throughout the rest of my life is, you know, I am a performing arts teacher, music teacher, but really exactly what you're talking about is my passion as a teacher, to be moving, you know, to be awakening and trying to enlighten children to know, to recognize themselves, to know themselves, to learn themselves, the choices, the forks in the road they have, the possibilities they have. And you know, some of them love performing arts class and other them hate it, and that's doesn't matter to me. I'm trying to open their eyes to, oh, that's all right. You don't have to like this class, but don't close yourself off to all your possibilities to learn through this experience. What you might learn is that you don't like it and it's not your thing, but you can learn how to appreciate someone else who this is their thing. Or at the very least, you can learn how many choices you have with areas that you feel uncomfortable with yourself.
Mhm.
You know, there's just so really that vein, that's really the underlying thing propelling what I'm doing in the classroom, is to help children enter into that and recognize that in themselves.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And creation speaks to our innocence, the child
Mm.
within. So a lot
Mm.
of my teachings, and as I'm assisting people to reclaim themselves, their truth, it all comes back to the innocence, the child within, healing. That's where we begin to disconnect, and connect to the outside world, and it stopped. All of a sudden, it stopped that flow because we're not there, and we're not in alignment. So what you're doing is helping children to know that that this is a good thing, that
Oh,
that
yes.
that flow that is innate. I believe that everyone is born with it. And it's always there. It's just a
Yes.
matter of where we are taught to place our focus.
Yes.
And so when we're teaching children again to this is good. This is where you want to be. This is where you're going to feel that music within. This is where you're going to all of the wonderful talents and abilities that are, just sleeping within you. They're waiting to be recognized. And, all these wonderful things that you enjoy doing, there's a reason for that. Let's explore that. And teaching them something like, because again, music is creative. So moving into that creative field, it's a doorway into their own exploration of what's within them, and what
Yes.
they're connected to, and what they can bring to life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know, we're from the moment we're conceived, we're spiritual beings. So that's very much part of what I'm trying to awaken in them as well. That, you know, it isn't about outward actions, it's about them, how they are thinking, what they feel, what they choose, how they act on what they think and feel and choose. And yeah, it's very true.
A lot there.
Very, very true.
And you are also getting ready to write a book series for children.
Yes, yes. I will say that it's all in me. I just have to get it written out because people, the dean over me at where I teach. I'm on medical leave right now, so I'm not currently teaching. And so what they're finding is, just because someone is skilled in music, in drama, in whatever, all the aspects of the content that I teach, it doesn't mean they understand what we've just been talking about. If they're not, you would use the language of ego and soul, or, not everyone is automatically combining. For me, it's all one. I can't teach without weaving together head and heart, soul. It's all together, and I'm very comprehensive. So they're wanting me to write out all my word pictures, using my language. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and I feel that that's how I receive from God. Is He gives me pictures, and in the classroom, I find it so effortless. It almost bypasses my brain and just comes down. It's like I'm a divine, it's divine coming down through me and out to the students, and it's very effortless and extremely life-giving to me, and I think many of the children, if they are open and willing. However, writing it is a bit more challenging for me. So that's a new thing I'm learning is, okay, how can I articulate this in a written form, and hopefully also with pictures. I have a good friend who's an artist, and she's a soulmate. So she's the perfect person to be working with. And I'm even going to be going off for a couple of weeks with yet another friend who's a soulmate and a good editor and a good question asker. And she's going to give me constructive criticism as I'm attempting to write these things out. But it's just putting in a storybook form what I do in the classroom. That's sort of the unseen underlying. A lot of times in curriculum for school, this aspect gets overlooked because curriculum tends to focus so much on content and technical things. I think academia always seems to fall in that direction, and I don't mean to say it's always bad. There's certainly a place for that. But what I'm writing, a lot of times, so many parents will come up and say, or other teachers will say, no one talks about this. No one talks about this. I'm so glad you're giving these pictures and giving this language, because it's sort of something that when you talk about it, people who are in tune or have a level of recognition, they recognize it and they go, oh, yes. But no one really makes a point of specifically teaching it. I shouldn't say no one. That's far too strong. I'm sure there's people in the world doing this.
Not many.
But that is what I hear, is that not many. And it's hard for me to understand that, because as I said earlier, it's so connected for me. I'm almost inept at separating it and thinking any other way.
Yeah.
So I am attempting to do that. Yes.
Awesome. Well,
Excuse me.
Definitely when you are, I want you to come on when you finish at least your first book. And
that's a good motivator.
wonderful. It's going to be wonderful. I think it's going to be just amazing, because you are an amazing soul, and you are a gift to the children that you teach, to all of humanity, by just sharing your gift, sharing who you are, because you're really giving people permission to also be who they are. And when it comes to children, it is so important for them, because I think that it can really eliminate a lot of those self-confidence issues sometimes that they have, and some of the other issues that they can run up against. Children need to learn how to trust what they feel deep within, trust that internal guidance. And unfortunately, a lot of children have not been raised that way. Some have, but I don't think many. So I think it's up to people like us to guide others, whether no matter what their age is, to begin to trust that wisdom, trust that guidance, trust, and when we open that dialogue up to our higher self, our soul, God, all of creation, they will answer you, and they will begin that dance with you, and help you to open up that song that is within you.
Oh,
And
so
so
beautiful. So beautiful. Yes, one of my joys in the classroom is as I teach in the way we've been describing, it's fascinating to see the children's faces and their eyes. And in some of their faces, I see recognition. The children who are, they're like, they rise up. And then there are children who their eyes get wider because they're having an aha moment, or they're starting to recognize or realize. And it's very exciting to me to see, their response, and to realize I am inviting them,
yes.
to open up and enter in for themselves. And yes, very exciting.
It reminds me of that movie Avatar, if you recall that, where she says, "I see you,"
Ah,
which means I know who you are. I can connect to who you are.
uh,
And when we do that to others,
yeah.
it's like something they were like, you see me. You see that beautiful part of me that no one else has ever recognized, and I stopped believing in it. There must be, you're seeing it, so there must
Oh,
be some.
I love our synergy and collaboration.
Yeah.
I love it because you are giving words that I haven't even thought of, that are completely describing and I'm resonating with. And that is really the joy I have had in my career as a teacher, um, to invite children, to see children. We have a school play every year. And I have to cast the parts. And that's a big part also, is when you can see people, you can cast them in a role they can thrive in, or that can challenge them. And it's very thrilling.
Yes.
So I can only just rejoice and say how much I've enjoyed your uh, affirmation of me. It strengthens
Uh,
me.
Anytime, and as you're writing as well, because I've also had the challenge of how do I write this information I'm receiving.
Yeah.
so I can kind of help you a little bit in that respect too. So
Well,
um,
thank you.
yeah,
Thank you so
because
much.
we are here to help the world. So I think that
Yes,
coming together and helping each other out, it's just part of what we do, and I think that there's so much joy in that.
so
Because
much.
we're here, what we're designed to do.
Yes.
So we're about at the end of our time, but I would like to okay. You had also mentioned that you have a medical condition and you are on medical
Yes.
leave.
Mhm.
And when I met you, you talked about it, and you told me something that you were doing that was actually healing you while you were doing it. So I'm going
Oh,
to give that to
definitely.
you. Tell us what that is, and give us a little bit of advice as to how we can implement something like that.
Yes. Well, these are wild times we are living in. And I think the big challenge that we all have is to not be afraid and not be fearful and not enter into despair and hopelessness. So all my health journey and my spiritual journey they just keep jiving and coming together. And I oh, so much to say. I'm trying to sum up in a quick way. But essentially what it looks like is I just realized what is going to be my action or my fight. What am I going to do in the world? Who I am. I'm on medical leave. I'm limited. I don't have a lot of energy. I'm not in the classroom. I'm not able to put my voice there. So I believe in the power of prayer. I believe God is so vast and beyond what any of us fully understand. So I believe in the power of staying joyful. We were created to be in a state of joy, not fear. And all your language of vibration and frequency goes so far down. And also in my classroom, children perform terribly when they're in a low vibration. So I'm using what I'm trying to teach them in my own life, in a new way, being ill, being limited, and so I just decided, when I have energy and the air quality is not really bad, I am literally walking around my block, my place of employment, and I walk around government buildings. I sing. I basically come and I say, all right, I'm here. God, I'm here. And I am going to praise you. I'm going to thank you for every possible thing I can think of. Sometimes I'm quiet. Sometimes a spiritual song or a hymn comes into my mind and I sing it. So I've started singing or humming a lot, or speaking prayers, speaking scripture, whatever falls down and in, I speak out, because I think it's words and belief and faith has power. And so I'm kind of doing like the Jericho thing, like in the Bible, that they used music. They marched around Jericho and they were singing, they were playing trumpets, they had music. So I've just decided, okay, I'm going to surround where I am, my territory, with all these things, and claim God's sovereignty, God's power, God's might. He is, pardon me, God is in control. So that's what I'm doing. And as I do it, I just find I get better and better. I feel well. My soul, it is well with my soul. It is well with my mind. I am in a state of peace. I'm in a state of wellness. I still have issues, but I'm also choosing to believe that I am being healed, by doing these things, by being in the presence of God, by just literally being with Him with me, in me. I don't know how articulate I am being, but that would be, if you feel helpless or if you feel fearful, please, it's so simple. How many people do you see exercising, walking around, running? Go around places you love, go around your block, the people in your spheres, the people in your circles.
And you're not singing to them. I mean, you're just singing to the community. So it's not.
No, I'm not going up to individual people.
You don't. Pardon?
I'm not going up to any individual people. No.
Right. It's just you are praying for the community. You're praying for humanity. So it's so it's not like something that's forced upon. You know what I mean? So.
Oh no. It's very much just me. And I confess that I often carry my phone.
Okay.
And if I am, in public or people would see me across the street, people are always doing this. So I'll do that.
Yes. And, it's so powerful. And, there's a doctor that proved this too. Dr. Emoto. He was featured in the movie that came out in the early 2000s called What the Bleep Do We Know? He was a doctor out of Japan, and he proved scientifically, we don't have time to go into all of this, but he proved that, he would take samples of water that was from polluted bodies of water, and he would take some of it and make a, in a vial, and then some of the same sample in another vial. And the one that he would tape the word love or thank you on it, and then take a sample of that in a petri dish freeze it, and then examine what the crystals looked like under a microscope. And the ones that had the words written, love, thank you, something positive and beautiful, they were absolutely beautiful crystals. Versus the ones where he taped the words sick, ugly, I will kill you, something, evil. They were just very, ugly looking formations. Okay, so there's a huge difference, huge difference. And then they began to pray or, pray and give blessings around bodies of water that were polluted, taking a sample before and after. And they found that the water was becoming healthier just by people, with their intent, with their voice, with the vibration. It's all about, setting that vibration, and you're bringing that into its true healed state.
Ah,
Because I believe that, because we're all essentially, we are beings of creation. No matter what's happened to us, no matter what we've done, our core being is we are from creation, and that is perfect. And so when we are in tune and we are recognizing that love, gratitude, praise, just all of this, we are moving back into that healthy state of being. So the point is that our bodies are made of between 70 to 90% water, depending what part of the body you're talking about. So he's saying that our thoughts, our beliefs are affecting the health of our own body. Literally.
absolutely.
Yeah. So when you're saying that, the singing, I've noticed that when I'm, perform or doing, meditations. Wow. I mean, it's so powerful. Just that vibration, because you're in tune. You're in tune when you're there, when you're using your voice, when you are just completely in alignment. It is so incredibly healing. And it's not just to the self, because we are connected. We are always connected. It's a healing that is affecting our neighbors, the neighborhood, our city, our states, our nation, our world. It just
Yes.
is a ripple effect. And of course, our families. So what you are doing is it's innate and it's beautiful, and I hope more people start to do that.
So do I. That's why I thought, absolutely, I'll come on your podcast when you ask me, because this is how I feel I'm serving my community, serving the world at this time. And it's really very simple. It's not
Amazing.
hard. And
Yeah.
it's actually will make you more joyful. It will make you more joyful, and it will bring health to your body. My lungs are weak and my lungs feel so good. And I've learned to recognize the pitch or the place where I hum and sing, the pitch of it, how low, how high, where it feels really good.
Wow.
And you will discover that, and I think one of the gifts that I had is that I was raised in an environment where I recognized, my body is a temple. My body is a temple for the Spirit of God. And I was encouraged to do that actively through singing, through playing music, through speaking. And I just hope people will be willing to feel a little awkward at first, because we're so used to listening. Music is done for us. We listen to all this music that's been done for us. And that's a great place to start. If you have a song you love, sing along with it. But also realize that's the beginning journey for you to find the music of your own soul,
Yes.
and what will heal you and bring you great joy.
Absolutely. I can see many great things coming out of you, Jennifer. And we'll talk more about it when we're done. But I definitely, I would love for you to come back on when the time is right. And thank you so much for sharing your passion, your wisdom, your talents and what you're giving to our beautiful children and to the world. So thank you for being you. Thank you, Jennifer, for just surrendering and just
I am deeply blessed.
So,
Well, 1,000 thank yous to you for your invitation, for your valuing of me, and asking me to be on your podcast. It was my honor and joy.
oh, it was my honor. Believe me. Thank you so much. And let me see. In the future, as Jennifer does have her books available and everything, I will let you know how you can contact her. But at this time, we're going to just let her, do her internal work and allow that to blossom into something truly amazing. But we're going to keep our eye on her and just kind of follow her along her journey. Okay, I like that idea. I like that idea. Okay, so you can take us on your journey with you. Okay, so. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and watching us. And until next time, abundant blessings, and may the music be with you. Thank you.